Hey guys, welcome back to the Girlfriends and Goals podcast YouTube channel. My name is Samaria, and I'm joined by my best friend and co-host Miosha. And today we're doing another Am I the A-hole reaction video. So if you like this type of video, please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. Meet us in the comments to let us know what you think about these scenarios. Okay.
All right, let's get into the first one. Am I the a-hole for causing an argument after my brother and his fiance booked their wedding in a week before my own, after we had already booked and paid deposits without discussing it with us? That's a long title.
Okay. He said, I'll let y'all know up front what it is.
All right, my partner and I, 33, got engaged in September of 2023. We quickly found a venue we loved and had it booked for December of 2024. Parallel to this, my brother and his girlfriend had become engaged in January of 2023, but had made no progress on booking a wedding and had declared that they were just going to elope. Fast forward to January 2024, despite regularly asking them what their plans were in the preceding months, they continued to state nothing was booked and they did not know what they were going to do. It was then dropped on us that they were likely to get married the week before us, as it was the only weekend that would work for them due to restricted factors such as work commitments, leave entitlements, wanting another child but not wanting to be pregnant at the wedding, and ultimately not wanting to drag out the engagement any longer. This initial conversation left my partner and I a little shocked and upset, as we felt it just wasn't something we would do to someone else, given the emotion, effort, and money that goes into a wedding and wanting it to feel special. We left it with them that we'd have a conversation in a couple days to see what the plan was. After a few days of no contact, we reached out to them to see what their thoughts were. Long story short, they were unwilling to make time for us to speak outside of social schedule, which is a pattern for them in constantly expecting everyone else to bend to their plans and needs. This was a bit of a straw that broke the camel's back and led to the discussion on the topic becoming more of an argument. They ultimately told us that the week before was booked and that we had no right to feel upset. Ironically, this is exactly how we felt because they did not communicate with us, and their cold, robotic ways of discussing this with us was upsetting. This has since led to a significant family feud between the four of us, as they feel we have no right to have an opinion and our feelings are invalid. Else, we feel they have been selfish and shown no empathy. To clarify, we are not saying they cannot have a wedding before us. We just felt empathy/etiquette would have been to include us in the discussion prior to just dropping it on us. Our issue and the reason the argument has occurred is more that we feel that they have shown no empathy and are now dictating how we should feel, which just isn't how human emotions work. Am I the a-hole?
I I have more questions than answers, I will say. I don't think he's the a-hole. I don't think he and his fiance are. I just want to know, are they inviting all the family to their small wedding? Or, is it just immediate family? So is the concern that people are going to come to their wedding and not yours? Is the concern that they're taking some of the excitement away from you guys because your anniversary will now be a week apart? Like, I don't get it.
So I would say that I think if their plan was just to have a small ceremony, maybe a bit bigger than just eloping, I don't know that the poster would see probably an issue with this.
Hmm.
I can't say for sure, but my assumption is that they're probably going to have a significant size celebration, because otherwise, why would you feel away?
You know what? They need to send their save the dates out immediately. Like, their save the date needs to be a text message if they feel that way, so that they can say,
Mhm.
because people won't come for 2 weekends. They might come for 1 weekend and then stay until the next one. So I think I understand the human emotions factor. Yes, feel the way that you feel, but Don't be in your feelings so long that you don't execute a plan that'll make sure that people get to your wedding. You had your date first. It is way in advance. Do people already know when your wedding is going to be, or are you now having to tell them? Because I think they save the dates what, like 8 months before or something, like 6 months before. I don't know. I should
Yeah.
know, but I don't know. But yeah, I think you need to come up with a plan and stop going back and forth with them, because if they're cold and robotic, they're probably
Theirs is already ready.
they probably strategic. They probably sent it out before they made the announcement. People have probably already gotten theirs in the mail. So yours needs to be a text message at this point.
Yeah, so it would basically be 12 months from now.
Yeah.
Is Yeah, it says December of 2024. And so I'll say I don't think you're the a-hole for expecting family to have some common courtesy,
Right.
a bit of decency, them knowing like, oh, if we're gonna have an event,
Hmm.
we should probably space it out.
Yeah.
Obviously everything can't be perfect and go in your favor, but I think obviously y'all were wanting to know what their plan was to also make sure that maybe that you're there to support them as well. There's so many factors. Is the wedding in the same city? Do you want to travel the week before your wedding and be dealing with a whole nother big event
Right.
basically the same week? um as Samaria said, now you see how they're moving. You need to act accordingly.
Yep.
And I think the issue is that both of these weddings will maybe not be equal in size, but will tap on the family's expectations. Meaning, if this was just an elopement or super small wedding, I don't know that they would. I mean, people share anniversary like timing a lot. It's not a huge deal. But like 5 years from now, no one's gonna be like, oh, well, your anniversary is on the 12th and yours is on the 22nd. Like,
Yeah.
but for
Maybe.
the wedding, yeah, that's a
Exactly.
big
So
deal.
years from now, they won't care. But imagine like you're putting your all into your dream wedding. And
Hmm.
now someone else is like, "Oh, I'm gonna have my dream wedding a week before yours." And this whole time, like you've been courteous to them, making sure that you don't step on their toes. And I think you would expect that same type of courtesy back, but they're not giving it. And so I think that also is like probably getting under their skin a little bit. Like,
Hmm.
we
And
made sure to ask you.
yeah, and they said like, oh, this is the only date that would work. I don't know. I think it says a lot. Like if I had a sibling that
Yeah.
was going through a big, moment in parallel, I would do what I could to make sure, like, okay, we don't overlap too much. Now, if I was running off to Vegas to elope, I don't know. Long as I'm at your wedding and where I need to be, I don't know matter, but it sounds like these events may be similar. And for whatever reason, they're digging their heels in on this.
They did it out of spite. Like I have a cousin who's
And they got engaged after because
the OP did. No, the OP got
of the
engaged
OP
after.
did.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
so
got engaged September 2023, but the brother got engaged January 2023. So he had nine
okay.
months of no wedding planning, and then
Mhm.
they had a
Yeah.
full year of no wedding planning, and now the only time they see to do it. And it's January 2024. There are a lot of venues that still have dates available. Like you're not gonna tell me that all the weekends are booked from now until a week before your brother's wedding. That's insane. I was gonna say I have a cousin who's having like their wedding and it's gonna interfere with, or it's gonna be at the same weekend as like a huge life event for me. And when
Mm.
we found that out, there was empathy, like it was like, oh man, I did not know that yours was gonna be this, like this time. And so it was like, it helped to know that the other person cared enough to say, dang, I'm so sorry it's turning out this way. And I think that's just a little bit of what they're looking for. But this was very intentional. And you better watch your back, because this is not the last petty thing. And I'm betting it's not the first petty thing that they've done.
You know what would take this over the top? If they canceled the wedding altogether, because they've been engaged since what, the beginning of 2023.
Yeah.
And so that would be that'd be almost 2 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But also the number of factors, and one of them being, oh, well, she doesn't want to be pregnant at the wedding, but they want to start a family. So y'all want to start a family so fast, but you're not going to have your wedding for 11 more months after being engaged for already 12 months. Like it's just
that's
not
why I said
adding
don't be shocked if they end up not even having the wedding. They might, but she might end up pregnant. Who knows?
it just seems like a lot. Your brother is the a-hole. He's the ops. For real. He has it out for you. So yeah, I wouldn't trust them. But you guys let us know what you think in the comments. And we will
Hmm.
go on to the next scenario. This one says, am I the a-hole for telling my cousin she can't run off to do her own thing when she was late to dinner on my bachelorette trip? I'm 30 female, getting married soon, and went to New York for my bachelorette trip recently. There were 8 of us, including my cousin Haley, 33, who's one of my bridesmaids. We were only there for a couple of days, and there were a few different things we wanted to do. Also, I only asked people to pay for their flight and hotel share. I paid for everything else. I made early dinner reservations for everyone on our last night, and we were going somewhere else after that. Haley mentioned that day she wanted to go visit a cemetery to pay her respects. Edit, it was to visit her late husband. I said okay, but to be back in time to go to dinner. I made the reservations for 5 and it was already 4:30, but Haley wasn't back at the hotel. A couple of us called, but she didn't pick up. And she sent a text saying she was running late and she would meet us at the restaurant. She ended up coming close to 6. I talked to her later about being so late and managing her time better. Haley made an excuse, but I replied this was supposed to be a girls' trip, not so she can go run off to do her own thing without thinking of anyone else. She got pretty upset and we flew back the next day, but she kept quiet and my sister said she saw her crying. I did text her later, but she left it on scene. My sister thinks I shouldn't have said that to her, but a couple of the other girls agree Haley shouldn't have been late. Am I the a-hole?
Hmm. I want to know, did she just go to the cemetery or did she go other places? I don't know if that makes a huge deal or a difference, but I'm just curious. I would say, even if you felt salty that she ran late or you felt away, this was an instance where you should have kept it to yourself
Hmm.
and you should have just ate it. All right. So you said that they paid for their airfare, their hotel, the majority of their trip, but I think you have the expectation that the girls' portion of the trip is supposed to be the only reason why you're traveling. Um, I don't know. I get having expectations of, hey, if we agree to go here for X reason, this is what we're going to do. At the same time, I don't know, she could have gotten caught up at the cemetery and gotten very emotional and needed more time. And it's not like she missed a dinner completely. Also, New York and the traffic. So I don't know, even her just being like 20 minutes behind could equate to that much more in her getting to where she needs to go. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna say I feel like you might be a bit of the a-hole. Or you could have just kept that to yourself.
I think she should have kept it to herself. I get it because if you've planned this event for yourself or this full weekend for yourself, you've envisioned how you want it to go. Granted, everything won't go perfectly, but if these are your girls, if these are your bridesmaids, you're
Mhm.
expecting that whatever goes wrong is not one of them. So I understand that portion. I think I want to know if Haley asked the day of to go to the cemetery or if she had already asked about this, way in advance.
That makes a difference for you?
For me it does because it's like, okay, if it would have been in advance, then I think I would have probably processed, okay, she's going to need a little bit longer. Let's talk about the logistics. Can I have someone take you? So, one, you're not alone in that situation. Like if this were my cousin who was close enough to be my
Mm-hmm.
bridesmaid, I would probably just go with her to make sure that she had someone there to comfort her and, also keep us on time or whatever, but mostly to comfort her. So it would have made a difference between her letting me know in advance and then the day of, like, hey, I'm gonna run to the cemetery right quick. Because I think on the day of, it puts you in the position of you can't say no, like she's going to see her, pay her respects to her late husband. How
But
do
could
you
you
say
say
no?
no the day before?
If she asked the day before, I would have, yeah, I could say no the day before. It would be hard, but I could say no the day before. I would
Oh my
say not
gosh.
no, but I would say, okay, do you mind leaving at such and such time just so we can all get ready together, and be on time to the dinner because it's really important that we're on time to the dinner. Or hey, can we like make sure you go the next day, or just try to like work something out. Not all right, just no, but just try to figure out the logistics of everything. Um,
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
I don't know. I don't think I would be able to say no. Just 'cause I'm like, if this sounds like a place where you don't live, you don't get this opportunity.
Often, yep,
You flew yourself out there
she did.
and your hotel portion of the hotel. So I don't think I'd even if I was having a girls trip and there was an understanding of like, oh, we're doing this, this, and this. Um, I would be irritated if you're like, oh, well, I'm gonna go try this other random place by myself. I'd be like,
Mm,
girl, we're here
yeah,
together.
this is
Like, what are
different.
you doing?
Yeah,
Versus, oh, I'm visiting my late husband's grave. Even if she told me, oh, I'll be back in time, I'd have been like, oh, she ain't coming to dinner.
she's probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So that's where I think this person is an a hole because like she got there at 6.
It's not like she missed the whole thing. You said you were leaving the house, the place at 4:30.
Hmm.
That's when you left the Airbnb. Say it took you 30 minutes. You may have gotten there at 5.
Yeah,
So she was like an hour late.
and
And in
that's
New York, an hour is not a lot of time.
and she's like, "Oh, you need to manage your time better." I kind of think if she's going to do something like that, it's incumbent upon you to adjust your expectations.
Oh
That's what
yeah.
I think. Yeah, like
You're like,
it's
oh, she's going to X place. Even if she managed her time well, she may not even really be in the headspace.
the fact that she showed up after doing something like that, I think says a lot about her commitment to what you guys were there for. I
Yeah.
I think again, if it would have been in advance and she would have said, hey, do you mind if, not even, okay, well, you have to be back in time for this, but do you mind if you do it earlier in the day so that way it gives us time to get ready together? That way it's a request and not so much of, well, we got to keep a tight schedule. I don't care about your grief. We have to, keep a tight
Mhm.
schedule. And I think maybe that would have given different results. I don't know for sure, but yeah, try to negotiate that with
Yeah.
her, but definitely still manage the expectation.
So I was just curious to see what some people had to say in the
Okay.
comments. Someone says she was paying respects to her husband. She was widowed from. Holy hell, OP, absolutely the a-hole.
At
Uh,
33, so she lost her husband young.
yeah. Yeah, I think you were right to maybe feel annoyed, like, oh man, like that's not why we're here.
Mhm.
But I think maybe this is just a learning experience. And some things you can feel, but you need to keep in your head
At
and
30
let it
years
go.
old. At
Because
30.
something like
Mhm.
it's not like she caused y'all to be late for an event that y'all put a $400 deposit on.
It's
It's a
dinner.
dinner.
It's dinner for 8 people.
Or like, oh, we were
Nine.
supposed to do a helicopter ride and we already spent $1,000
Yeah.
and we missed the whole thing. Well, of course,
Yeah.
not dinner, girl. That just be annoyed, but in your head.
And she communicated, I'll meet you guys at the restaurant. Don't wait for me. So she made sure y'all weren't late, even though she was running behind. So yeah, I I probably would if I were Haley, I probably would drop out of the wedding.
Mm.
This is your cousin.
Yeah.
Like maybe I have too high expectations for my cousins, but if my cousin, like knowing what I've been through, that type of loss is like, well, you just need to manage your time better. It's like, hold on, sis. You're just getting married. You have no idea what this
Mhm.
level of pain feels like because you're not even married yet, you know?
And
So,
I'm supposed to be supporting you through this big moment, and I lost my husband.
and this is what I get, you know? So I definitely think the OP is the a-hole. I personally think it makes a difference between when Haley said it, like if it was the day of, then I might have been caught off guard, like, I wish you would have said something sooner. And if she did mention it way in advance, I would have just said, okay, let's figure out the best day for her to go. And I would have managed my expectations from then. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Y'all let us know in the comments. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I'm expecting a mixed bag, but we shall see.
Yeah.
And I think that was the last one for this video. So we will catch y'all on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and we'll see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.